was coming that has not seen in our world since the dawn of our creation. I was just a little girl. Most of the tales I heard spoke of a creature with an evil eye that could poison your mind and destroy all. The name was Balor of the Evil Eye. And the story goes like this. Balor was a leader of a demon race known as the Thorini. These demons went to Earth of your dimension and wreaked havoc on the world, but the greedy Balor was well known. Balor and his minions created a potion of death to be deployed on the world, but wanted power for himself, killing all who made the potion and keeping it secret. But there was an accident. The potion's fumes somehow entered the third eye of Balor. Suddenly the eye became a powerful tool of decadence and despair. Balor could poison his name, explode and imprison anyone within the gaze of its eye. Some were turned to stone, some dropped dead out of sight, others were burned alive, and some were slowly poisoned and wasted away. The effects are not random but based on the character and power of the victims. Some were able to fight off the gaze and escape, but no one could do that for long. Eventually the eye would find you and destroy your will to survive. Balor was eventually stopped by our friends, a race of demigods known as the Truaillidh. These demigods frequently visited your dimension and went to Earth, and Balor was apparently a demon that evolved from that race. But one of its ancestors, Lou, was able to use his spear and pierce its eye, sending a shockwave that opened a rift and sent the creature into the void. I thought this would be a myth at first, but with the whirlwind of Setons and Besus and the Elders, and the Aes transcendence into the order of light, it was always in the back of my mind. When I met the Truaillidh, they told me many tales, but would not give too many of them on Balor, almost as if the mere mention of the name could unleash the fury once more. Never did I realize the artifacts used to send Cirein-Cròin back to the void would open a doorway long enough to allow Balor the Evil Eye to get through the weakened barrier. Due to the time distortion, Balor's arrival was echoed through the warped minds of the Aes Sídhe, facilitating the steps necessary to ensure this present time. The rifts are still unstable, and the Aes Sídhe are growing in power. This means that Cirein-Cròin was only a part of the plan to trick us into using the artifacts once more to open the void. The beast will now be after the green hole once it locates the energies left over by the Elders and from the dimensional time travel. It'll be too much to resist. This cannot happen. The green hole must go to the chosen one. But if Balor poisons the winner of the trophy, Balor will be able to use his gaze on the green hole and use his power for its own revenge. I must reach Mario in his dreams, but a barrier now exists in dreams due to Balor's arrival. I must find a way back through, or it will be too late. If we fail, the order of light will be doomed to fall into the shadows, trapped forever in the void. Protect the green hole! Protect the green hole! Protect the green hole!
Welcome to the quest for the Green Ball, Òrdugh Truaillidh, and wow, what a first round of the playoffs we had. 2 blowouts, but 2 upsets as well. We also have a Dick Butt Bowl set up, and sad to say that it includes my squad in what has to be the worst fantasy season of my life. My defense, Ellen Trekend was hunting me down, so... But anyway, in the first of 2 quarterfinals, we had third-seeded Remember the Titans hosting sixth-seeded the Stellar Bitches at the GOFTA of the Highlands. Stellar Bitches needed some beast performances, and she got them in a 130.64 to 94.44 win. The first over Remember the Titans in 3 tries this season, and this one counts the most. It was also the first career league playoff win for the Stellar Bitches, so congrats. Baker Mayfield was a beast with 381 passing yards and 4 touchdowns, including a 50-plus yarder. He actually had the best road quarterback game in Lambeau Field history. Davante Adams started things off with 101 yards and a score on Thursday night, and the Dolphins defense stepped up with a shutout, collecting 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 2 fumble recoveries. Remember the Titans had 3 touchdowns by tight end Sam Laporta, which proved to be a huge trade pickup. But it wasn't enough. The Saints defense had 7 sacks and allowed just 6 points. And Lamar Jackson had 171 passing yards, 97 rushing yards, and a touchdown. One of the big differences here was actually with the highlighted players. Rachaad White had 139 yards and a score for the Stellar Bitches, nearly picking up 20 points. Breece Hall had a dud, just 18 yards against the Dolphins to crush the hopes of Remember the Titans. The Stellar Bitches now move on to the semifinals to take on second-seeded Green Acres. Remember the Titans has to settle for the 5th place match.
Hey everyone, it's Òrdugh of the Stellar Bitches. Happy holidays. I'm pretty elated to be alive this week in part of the quarterfinals. I got my notes here. I was not expecting things to go smoothly at all, considering I've been all over the place this season, and it's the end of the year, it's finals, I work at UW-Madison, and I have not been paying attention. So again, I am elated to be here. When I set up my lineup early week last week, wasn't hoping for much, and it wasn't until Davante Adams kind of turned that around. What was that, Friday night? Yeah. Still expecting to crash and burn at some point, but again, my hopes are up a little bit higher. This week obviously turned out really, really well. Remember the Titans, heart goes out to you, because I really expected you to win this week, but you are a great team. So again, I feel pretty lucky to be here, but I have to give shout outs to Mayfield for scoring, almost 40 points this week, quarterback. I wasn't expecting that either after the Dobbs trade. Gave him a good chance, but he didn't really come through. And also the Dolphins as my defense. Was not excited. I don't know why I put them on my team when we were doing the draft, but they have really come through. So again, pretty happy with things how things are going. So I'm hoping I stay alive as long as possible. We'll see how things go. Take care.
On to the second quarterfinal as 4th-seeded the Clash at Demonhead hosted number 5 Risky Business at the waters of Cirein-Cròin. Risky Business had a head start on Saturday and never looked back in a 128.62 to 85.76 win, as the chance at a second Green Bowl title remains. Christian McCaffrey, who seems to be the true number 1 overall pick at this point, finished with a mind-boggling 187 yards and 3 touchdowns to lead the way. Clearly a Green Bowl MVP candidate. Matthew Stafford added 258 passing yards and 2 scores, including a 50-plus yarder, and Joe Mixon even scored a touchdown. The Clash at Demonhead had 109 yards and a 50-plus yard score by Amari Cooper, and Isaiah Likely collected 70 yards and a score. Josh Allen added 2 touchdowns, and Chuba Hubbard finished with 103 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs actually set the tone as one of our highlighted players as he finished with 108 yards and 2 touchdowns for risky business. Jaden Reed had 52 yards and a touchdown for the Clash at Demonhead, but he had to sit out part of the game after getting a toe injury, which limited the potential results here. Risky Business will now take on top-seeded Banditos Del Rio in the semifinals. The Clash at Demonhead will take on Remember the Titans in the 5th place match.
Hey everybody, Risky Business back at it again. Man, what a week. Super hyped to get one step closer to the Green Bowl. Big shout out to some of my guys again. Big pickup with Matthew Stafford was awesome. Gibbs, love him. He's going to come in the clutch, hopefully keep doing it. And obviously the big stud McCaffrey. I mean, he's carrying a lot of that weight. So, can't wait to hopefully get to the next step. And we'll keep going, obviously, as always. Best of luck, everybody, and a little more on my side.
Besides those 2 matches, we also had the Consolation quarterfinals, which we shall get to in the best of the rest. To forget, Loki Lebowski Thor traveled to take on Air Jordan at the Caves of Brone Diomir and won 54.22 to 53.36 in a wild upset in the consolation bracket. Lebowski Thor even took a negative 5-point penalty for keeping in an injured A.J. Dillon, still winning. Jalen Hurts had 2 touchdowns. Devin Singletary finished with 170 yards. Air Jordan had 110 yards by Alvin Kamara, and 7 sacks and an interception by the Texans defense. Not much else to talk about. Lebowski Thor will now take on the number 7 elite Mother Tuckers in the Consolation semifinals. Air Jordan is off to the Dick Butt Bowl. In the other Consolation quarterfinal, the Siamese Dreamcats traveled to take on My Gosh Slews at the foggy fields of Aes Sídhe and won 100.98 to 92.32. Brock Purdy was a beast with 242 passing yards and 4 touchdowns, but CeeDee Lamb added a score, and David Njoku finished with 104 yards and a touchdown. The Colts defense added 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, and a fumble recovery. Some big key compliments there. My Slews were led by Jared Goff with his 278 passing yards and 5 touchdowns. The Browns defense added 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, and a fumble recovery, but there was nothing else. The Dreamcats will take on the number 8 multiple scoregasms in the Consolation semifinals. My Slews will be in the Dick Butt Bowl against Air Jordan. Why? A crazy week with all 4 lower seeds and road teams winning to move on in their brackets. We have another year where the 6th seed topples the 3rd seed as well, which is something that tends to happen. 3 seeds are now 2-7 against 6 seeds in the league's 9-year history. Dare we say, curse of the 3 seed? Speaking of curses, number 1 seeds are 1-7 in semifinal games, but the elite Mother Tuckers did become the first top seed to win and then claim the Green Bowl last year. Does this mean that we will get another top seed holding the trophy? We shall see this next week as we will preview the semifinals and Consolation semifinals tomorrow. Before you go, check out the home and away records of all of our teams in the regular season. Until next time, salut.